Okay, hello everybody, all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you for being Patreon supporters. Your help is very much appreciated, and in doing so, you get to hear our ramblings. I think we're going to have some good ones today. A lot of tinfoil hat polishing, a lot of suspects to be whittled down, a lot of names to call me. So let's see how this turns out. But I hope you enjoy the story so far, and I hope you enjoy our musings, and stay tuned for more codex entries because they're super fun. So I think again I'm going to try to steal some wrap up questions from Jeff Harvey over at Studio Tembo, where we have where I play Star Trek, because he has a lot of really good end of session wrap up questions. I like to just judge more where all of my players' heads are at and get everybody talking to make sure we're all on the same page. But I like what he does in trying to get everybody to really analytically think about how everyone played and interacted in the episode itself. Uh, let me start out with my usual general question. How's everyone doing? What's everyone's general thoughts?
I enjoyed this week.
Yeah,
It's nice to get back to it. I was remiss that we didn't have a session last week.
Mhm.
Frankly,
Missed it so much.
Yeah. It was weird having a Saturday off.
yeah, yeah. I
I
had
know,
a
and
whole,
I
I
wasn't
spent the whole
doing
time
anything.
playing.
So I
I'm
definitely
playing
didn't have the
Sims
day
Row
off,
yesterday.
but
It was my last day off before I went back to work.
Really screwed up
Remember
my
what I
whole
did on
week
that day?
schedule, especially because I didn't have a Star Trek game as well.
Mhm.
So until Wednesday, I was like, I have no idea what day it was.
Yeah, oh, I know. I was like that all week. Just like,
Yeah, but at the same time, I was busy enough that I wasn't able to really do that much more planning. Thankfully, I had plenty of material, um, and of course a lot of I don't want to say 100% improv, but ideas that didn't necessarily get down on paper that fleshed out. Uh, through the
such
course of
as
events. I can't say.
not even one.
Um, it is hard for me to say because most of I really only write down session notes because it instills it in my head. I rarely actually have to go back and reference things. I only had to do so this week because it's been such a crazy 2 weeks
Yeah.
since playing last, and I'm glad I did jot down some of these notes. I did really like your leaning into the whole smell test situation. That made me play up some things that I think would have been a lot more difficult to detect otherwise.
Mhm.
Um,
Which that whole thing got saved because Steven decided to help,
yeah.
which I appreciate.
we're all trying to solve the same thing. So
Yeah.
my hope was that I could convince. If I did well enough, it was like, okay, we'll get started on this, and then Taylor can pick up once we kind of get away from all the other synths.
Yeah,
So
that's kind
then
of
it just
going to be my rationale for it not working out so much because it was, camp where there's lots of sense.
so then it just ended up looping right back. So
That I was about to be really annoyed, but then you rolled really well on investigation, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. That nat 20, right at the investigation site that you needed. That gave you a lot of information.
that was the dice picking up on my increasing annoyance at
Yeah.
the whole situation.
So
Because Andrew is getting
now-
progressively more and more like, I am going to slap the shit out of someone.
I was really thinking you guys were gonna look into this tent, if not the first time it came up, the second time it came up, especially after Aquila, you did sort of bump into the tent, and man, I thought you were onto me.
It's weird that they didn't react, but it
Uh-huh.
was like, well, maybe they heard her walking by,
I
and
thought so too.
Oh, and that was the thing.
Ignoring something.
I think that's the thing I'm most aggravated with is like, I was trying to be real, like, actual detective about this, and like follow kind of what I was thinking police procedure wise. So I didn't want to like just go busting into anyone's tent. And I was able to, like, in my head, Occam's razor stuff, like, oh, okay, it's a bunch of wizards and a bunch of wizard researchers. Certain things will make sense to ping in their tent. It's not enough to it's not
Yeah.
probable cause.
Yeah, certainly.
Like, I was trying to find the problem, and then it was, like, just so much cliche bull crap. And it was like, ah! If I had just gone gut and stopped trying to be analytical about it, would have found it.
And see, the worst thing is, this is exactly what you guys asked for.
I know.
And I give it to you, and it's
we-
still...
Well, and because it was the time. Because this time I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try to play Jack's game from the previous times and go full like beautiful mind on this. And it was like, no, it was just right there.
so it did strike me as strange, but not strange enough. If I had pushed it a bit more, I would have caught it. Because I almost did actually, hit it and say something. If I'd said something and they hadn't reacted, that would have been like, okay, that needs to be looked at.
And that wasn't the only avenue for this to actually lead to something. There were a number of instances where you were just so close to stepping onto some sort of inciting moment.
But now I see them, and it was like, oh, there's not quite enough probable cause to like accuse someone or pursue someone into a place where, oh, if I'm wrong, this is gonna be real problematic. I did not suspect, and I guess we still don't know, that Sagana was part of this.
Did.
Well,
But I suspect everybody so. Because I'm not convinced that the guy we brought with us isn't involved.
yeah. I mean, Steven's not, but there is very little evidence to suggest so far.
But Aquila's job is to be suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to point out, by the way, I did not invite him or tell him to come with us. I simply said, hey, we're going to meet with Makaba. Come join us, essentially. I didn't invite him to come walk around with us, so the accusations that I invited him to come with us on this investigation, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, I was like, I thought it was weird that he came with us after that conversation, but it's like, okay. Maybe I just misunderstood that.
Yeah, I thought...
No, I said, I said very specifically.
He did.
When I sent the message, like, we're going to go meet with Makaba to dish out all of our stuff if you want to come along, because...
Yeah, if you
that
want
is
to... Okay. Yeah, I thought it was something like, if you want to come along or if you want to join us, and I took that to mean, over the long run, not just for this meeting. But
yeah, I mean, it's
he dispelled things.
It's his choice. I don't care. It's more
Yeah,
that
nothing was
more,
fair.
if we didn't have this guy with us that's been floating around here.
he did save you 2 level 3 spell slots.
I was going to say, if I accused you, I didn't mean to, because frankly, so far the minor inconvenience to me not using detect magic has been offset, and if he is clean and we do run into some necromancy bullcrap, he's the one I want on my side. So he does know his shit. It's just a question of, and frankly, so far he seems clean. I'm fully
I don't
willing.
have anything.
I know, Jack. Tint your fingers like Mr. Burns all you want, but technically, like. Yeah, he was out in the field, but at the same time, he's a introverted very dedicated academic, seems about right that he's up in the middle of the night double checking and triple checking his work.
You know, as I said, it's like, I don't have anything specific that makes me suspicious of him. I'm just, suspicious of him. I'm suspicious of Makaba too, if I'm honest. But again,
And
I'm supposed to be suspicious of everybody.
And I will say, despite how annoyed I am at missing some of the cliche evidence, I do like how the second or like the third act kind of was everything sort of falling in.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminded me of the crime shows where whoever's investigating figures it out just a hair bit too late, and so they're chasing the bad guy as he's already got a head start. It was very much like that, and I kind of did like that sort of mental image of us putting it together, and now we're rushing to like instead of catching them before, it's like shit, we've got to move.
Yeah.
I do kind of like that. I will say.
Yeah, this actually turned out
easier to.
Probably narratively my most preferred way this could have went, as you said, where you are just a step behind things that are actually happening. There was definitely a possibility for you to really cut this thing off and get in front of it. It was also a complete possibility for you to miss it entirely.
So yeah, I think you're right. I do think we ended up at the most narratively interesting point of it, where yeah, we're a little behind, but now that gives that sense of urgency and importance to everything.
Exciting on the trail.
Okay.
So again, not upset with the way the session went at all.
Yeah, I think this was a good one. It started out a little slow, but I think that's as much on my end as it is on anybody else's, if not more so. But it did really pick up, and I like where it went.
Yeah, I mean, I think the slowness at the start was just a continuation of the end of last week, trying to figure out what the piece of evidence we could really hone in on was. So,
because that was something we've mentioned during our break, where it's like, we feel like we were just
right there. It was that we needed that one look. We need to put two things together, and then things would start to fall in place, which is exactly what happened. It was just finding those first two things to link up,
right,
to start the dominoes.
Yeah.
So glad I wanted that roll call.
Yeah. And at that point, that did make perfect sense.
I know, but again, it was just one. I was like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to check people.
I mean, at that point, I went because I was half expecting to find some of those people that were missing dead in their tents too, or something. I was really waiting to find some more bodies, but
I didn't think we were going to find corpses, honestly. I was surprised with how many people were missing.
And I still think there's quite the possibility that some of them aren't fully part of this.
Possible.
I feel like they just kidnapped Philip or something. Or, the gnome lady.
I like said, I was like,
I don't know. The gnome seems like the most legit of all of them to be actually a cultist.
Well, the thing, it's like she seems the most skilled, which would help with some of the things that we've seen.
Some of them, some of the research assistants could be patsies, but the gnome and Sagana are the most likely to actually be powerful enough to pull some of this crap off. I am a little concerned about leaving Makaba and Sagana in the tent, but I'm hoping that's Makaba is powerful enough combined with the other people in there that Sagana won't try to start some shit.
I was going to say, if she's
since we told her,
hopefully,
if
has
she's capable at what she does, she knows how to play the game.
I'm hoping so. Part of me wanted to go back and start questioning there, but I'd rather not let people get away or put something into motion.
I was worried you were about to go doing something like that.
I was going back and forth. It was I don't really want to leave this one person that we know of to their own devices, but at the same time, there's four more who could be doing God knows what, and at least this one person has a whole tent watching them. So yeah, we'll leave them. but I was debating internally.
Yeah, I was like, trust me, I was not going to support you in stalling things to go question Sagana.
I didn't figure anyone would. Part of what made my decision for me.
I was really
Number fact.
wondering if at some point, and I think it almost happened, if at some point you guys were just going to be like, you know what, let's go to sleep. We'll start it fresh in the morning with new spells prepared exactly for this.
Oh no!
It's like at the beginning, I almost suggested it, but no, I didn't.
Like someone just got murdered. This was a priority for, at least in my mind. Like, nah, we at least have to exhaust all the possible options. And if we just realize we've hit a completely cold trail, fine, before we like set out on a, if we gotta really go hunt a distance. But at the moment, it was like, nah, there is a murderer in this camp right now, as far as we can guess. We need to find this person.
I did like that Omen insisted on staying in the makeshift morgue.
Yeah, I was not upset with that decision.
It was to me, to Omen, it was too suspicious of an incident to leave not only a recently deceased member of the group in there, but also right next to a recently killed turned maybe zombie. So it was definitely one of those, like, somebody should be here. It's not that I almost let slip. I was about to tell Makaba, I was like, it's not that I don't trust the thing inside here, but I had to remember, it's like, I don't know that something's inside there.
Yeah.
I only technically do because they told me about it when they snuck in here earlier. Right?
The armored zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I shouldn't, strictly speaking, I shouldn't have known about that yet.
Nope.
I almost let that slip.
I mean, I was happy that you chose that just because I was less worried about something coming back, like raising, and more that someone was going to come back and try to maybe destroy evidence or something. And since we did get, and you figured out what was going on with the zombie, which was another one of those, like, we needed to figure out who was doing it and how they did it. And we got those two things, so. Though it was funny because, y'all were giving him crap about mentioning the Cult of Worms to, Maxim. Yeah, I've been so close so many times, pulling Makaba aside, be like, don't tell anyone. Just because, I mean, like, if she's in charge, I really feel like the person in charge would be way more helpful if they know what the fuck's going on. And especially at the end there where she was like, this is all really weird, I wanted to be like, yeah, this goes deeper, we'll talk about this when we get back.
Too, but
I realize this doesn't make sense. There's a reason for that. Discuss later.
Yeah, this is a really bizarre, out of the blue murder as far as she's concerned.
Yeah, I've been wanting to be like, look, here's why this is weird. Why we're here, this whole thing. Let's work together.
It's like, I wanted to because it's like, oh my god, maybe I'll get more useful information rather than just being like, hey, do things seem suspicious to you? They seem suspicious to me.
But at the same time, we don't know for sure that she isn't in on this, so...
Yeah. Or what the ramifications
and also for me, it's just
letting her know would be whether she's in on it or not.
Well, again, for me, the thing is that Malkazir specifically said that he didn't want them told about it.
Well, at the moment, Andrew cares more about not dying and making his life a little bit easier than whatever the Malkazir wants, so...
Help make your life a little bit easier.
But... yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm fairly convinced that she's not in on it, because... well, no, never mind, because actually she didn't give us the clue we thought she did. I was convinced that when she said it's not one of ours, that like, okay, cool, you're probably clear, because that would have made no sense if you were part of this to give us that, but... that's right, that wasn't actually a thing.
That was an accidental red herring.
Yeah, I don't know where that. I don't even remember saying that, so I don't remember what I was thinking at the time. So I'm sorry, I have no recollection of that. But
it was just, it's like, I was glad that people could confirm that. Yeah, no, that's what was said, so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not just
All right.
pulling crap out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
because all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, I gotta
Yeah.
revise some theories real quick.
Yeah, so another DM GM insight. Don't be afraid to admit you made a mistake. If you made a mistake and it's going to throw your entire story off to have to roll with it, just be like, I'm sorry, guys, I made a mistake.
Yeah, because that was gonna be that meant Makobo's clear in my head, and it was
Right.
also something like, all right, how did she know? Because that's important, and I was gonna
Right.
chase that.
Yeah, that would have caused me to really rework a lot of, really come up with a lot of explanations for things that I didn't already have planned out. So I decided not to roll with that.
Yeah, smart move.
Fine, like I said, it mostly just threw me off because suddenly it's like, okay, well, that line of questioning doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to shift a little bit, but better than barking up the completely wrong tree.
Right.
Yeah.
So it happens occasionally.
It does. Nobody's perfect.
What was
Nobody's perfect.
There's there was not exactly the same thing, but it was that kind of like, yeah, you have to be very careful about what information the players are given, because it was the people that do outside Xbox and their whole thing.
Oh,
The whale.
Yeah.
Yeah, he like
With the chairs,
offhandedly knows. So during a fight, there was a druid, and she summoned a bunch of sea creatures, and he offhandedly mentioned, well, there's a whale out there too, but it can't get in. And then later, the whale was used to an effect he had not intended. So it's like, yeah, if you don't want him to have something, just say nope. Sorry, never mind. That wasn't a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he kind of had. It wasn't exactly the same point, but similar when he was talking about the chairs, where he just led them off in a completely wrong
let's not get
direction
too
because
much
he thought
on
it was
other people's
funny.
content. Let's focus on what we do.
I know it was more going with what you had just said. That
Sure.
Alright, never mind.
But no, there's been a number of times where I've just went with things you've said, and it's been used to really good effect. Which is why I really like when players take charge of the narrative and really make player driven moments. The more you throw at me, the more I can take those ideas and squish them together and mold them into interesting things and throw them back at you.
As our worst nightmares.
Usually, yeah.
I was really waiting at the beginning of this for like Andrew to be having his own problems to deal with.
I was worried that was going to happen. I'm glad that's not what ended up happening.
Yeah, especially when he's like, well, and the other two wake up, but Andrew doesn't. It was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
And they're like, he shakes awake. Oh, thank God.
I wasn't planning anything there. That was just a series of coincidentally interesting rolls that accumulated to that. It was just a normal. I mean, it did have significance. Ender should be drawing some inferences to what that was, but I mean, it wasn't an event.
Oh. I was just because it's like technically there are definitely some connections to this place and everything that's going on. Like crap, are we closer than I thought we were?
Some in jokes with Tali being strung up on the tree.
Right.
Well, yes, that too.
Yeah.
Talia is very good at getting grappled.
Yeah. Any of my characters.
It's Arlene, though.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, it's all my characters. Yep. Both the Halloween one-shot and in this game.
Let's see how many undead managed to grab Tali during this.
Oh,
They can try. I have Destroy Undead.
That is true.
Use it.
I mean, how effective is it going to be?
Hopefully, somewhat.
Don't know.
Why you didn't have Detect Evil and Good or or Speak with Dead or I don't know.
You knew we were going into an undead situation.
Well, I have
Dead, I understand why that was. Because I mean, it's not Speak with Undead; it's Speak with Dead.
That is true.
In theory, we were expecting
any dead again.
I don't think that's how that works.
No, I don't think so either.
And in theory, we were expecting any dead bodies we found to have been raised at this point. So, evil and
really
good,
old corpses.
A little bit, but
Like,
yeah,
really old bodies.
You've talked to a really, really ancient
I know.
body before.
True, but
Actually,
those wouldn't have
a couple
been
of
as...
really, really old ones, because there was the
Yeah.
one in the submarine
That's what I was
place and
thinking. Yeah.
that one in the cairn. Yeah,
Yeah, as long
But
as it
those-
has a mouth.
not cairn.
Right, but they can only tell you what they knew in life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's not just... The body can't tell you what has passed it by, so... In this particular instance, I don't think that would have been... Like I said, I'm giving her a pass on that one. I can
Yeah.
make sense of that one. I will shame you on the...
I was
evil,
confusing some of the paladin or more specific undead focused abilities with things that clerics got. I'm like, why isn't she using Eyes of the Grave? Why isn't she using detect undead or whatever? I don't know.
But she's a nice cleric.
Yeah.
And doesn't have access to all those icky things.
Yeah.
Played the grave player.
Yes, Evan.
Still character named 8.
Huh?
I
still didn't hear it.
You're gonna have to
Damn
play with the placement and angling of your microphone.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for you.
Well, again, this is the first time.
Yeah.
But I said it's like I still need to make a character named 8.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
As long as you don't make a character named 9. Anyway, so anything else we wanna bring up here?
You have
I'm
questions?
not excited about what we're gonna find down this suspicious-looking death hole
No,
next week.
well, that's a shame.
It's probably gonna be bad stuff that I don't want to meet.
But it's gonna be exciting.
It's gonna be awesome.
Be there to
You know what's
grapple
exciting? Carnivals. Carnivals are super exciting.
They're also super questionable.
That's true too.
Or general festival.
Part of the excitement.
I was more referring to the festival
Will I survive?
day.
Carnival.
Well, that one festival we had in Dupont that one day.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
all
Oh, that
nice
one,
and
yeah.
happy and-
Oh, yeah.
That was exciting without
That
being
was so
terrible.
fun.
Remember when you guys got your fortunes read by that creepy old lady?
No, because that's a different character.
mine written down somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
I
at this
actually
point,
forgot about that.
yeah, at this point, it's just Ander and Tali.
So you have another carnival that the rest of us can have creepy fortunes read to us.
It's coming back around. Calendar is
Yeah.
almost back to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably be out dealing with undead horrors during it.
So that was a really fun episode.
Mm-hmm. I want to
Yeah,
do more of
just gonna
those.
rest for this week, next time.
Yeah, it's like that was
Those
a
are
lot
all-
of fun. I think
Holidays.
yeah,
The
it's like even though
filler
at first we
episode.
tried to ignore Christian's new character.
Yes.
Did we?
Well, actually, it was mostly
Shantira?
because Shantira, because Jet pointed it out to Reet, and I was just like, okay, cool, let's go to the festival.
I think they are nice from a team building perspective, if nothing else. Like
Yeah, I mean-
the team the group can really come together in a much safer kind of a safer
Yeah,
environment.
I mean, it's nice to see them in their downtime too.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Well-
I want to get back to doing more of that, and I want to get back to doing more just cultural exploration episodes.
Yeah, I want some of that.
With the whole last story arc, and we don't need to focus on this too much because it's off topic. We got so bogged down in rushing headlong into following all of these trails because, we knew things were coming to a head. This particular story arc, I want to be more, not episodic, episode by episode, but more a series of smaller arcs that accumulate into a larger thing. I want it to be more, globe trotting. I want it to be more culturally aware. Explore my world a little bit and give you guys more of a time to delve into individual character growth, party growth and get into
Yeah.
your individual backstories. And I want to be able to do that without every episode being like, okay, go kill undead. Okay, there's more undead. Okay, there's more undead. Okay, we're gonna stop every now and then. We're gonna have some downtime. We're gonna do a festival. We're gonna just hang out in a town and have something fun happen.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I know we've gotten crap before about like, oh, we don't take the time to learn about each other, and it's like, well, because frankly, like, your intricate backstory seems very unimportant considering the giant big bad. Right now, what I need is to know that you can help kill said big bad, because that's important. Whereas in those kind of moments, it's like
the world ends.
yeah. Whereas in like those kind of moments, it's like, cool. This is the time where something happened, and it reminds you of a funny story that you tell the group that kind of explains more about you. Whatever, yada yada. I feel like it's a little bit easier in those moments to focus on the not critical point, because things aren't as rushed and
right. So that's my goal. We'll see how it turns out, but
yeah,
that's my goal.
It's a good goal to shoot for.
Yeah.
I'll forget, but we'll try.
Arlene, you were trying to say something at some point.
Sorry.
Oh crap. No, you're good. How long ago was that? Thanks. I mentioned Tali's fortune that I have to find. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
It's gone. Must not have been important. Although I do need more information about cleric hierarchies so I can finish her backstory.
Okay.
That is still technically kind of vague.
Right. Okay. I'll try to be better with that. I keep opening to a very specific point in my notes, and it's a reveal that I want to get to.
Oh. Hell.
Andrashid is actually Tali's father.
Oh God, I hope not.
Oh my God.
Tali, I am your father. No.
It's impossible. And just like cut off my hand and I fall into a pit.
That was the joke. Yeah.
Oh man, I have a lot of fun stuff planned. It's all very long term and not super fleshed out, but I have a lot of really awesome stuff planned. Okay. Any more comments on the intricacies of this episode? In particular, strange theories, quirky happenstance.
They're all in on it. We should kill them all.
Sure, just
all a dream.
Kill them all.
Yep, it's an option.
It's all still part of the nightmare Andrew was having.
Better not be. Piss me off.
It's all still a part of the nightmare we have all been having.
And the Hag's dream world thing.
Yep.
Christian's new character here.
That's what I was thinking. I was actually just about to say, like, oh no, we're all actually still in the Hag dream world.
Yep. We're slowly dying, and more people are showing up.
Yep.
Getting more people into her house.
Oh god, that would be great if, like, whenever we finally decide to end this, like, the entire campaign, that's how Jack ended it. You all wake up in the Hag's den.
Absolutely hate that.
Too.
So furious.
That would be the worst.
You all collectively wake up in individual cryo tanks on a spaceship heading to Mars, and it was all a bad VI trip gone wrong.
And then we start some sci-fi campaign.
You don't think that? Come on now, Jack's ultimate plan is clearly to get us into a sci-fi campaign.
Actually, that would be amazing. If somehow.
That was a reference to a TV show called Life on Mars, which had, in my opinion, one of the worst serial endings I've ever seen. But a fantastic show all the way up until the last 5 minutes. Absolutely fantastic.
Did they really? It's all a dream.
Yeah.
Oh.
It was about. Man, I'm really getting off topic here, but you guys do it, so I will too. It was a show about a detective in like 2010 being thrown back in time to the 1970s, and having to solve a mystery involving his mom and dad, and some sort of temporal time conspiracy plot. That was slowly driving him insane because he wasn't sure if it was just like drug trips or if he was going insane, if he really did go back in time. And they kept throwing strange clues at you to make it to really get your tinfoil hat polishing going. And then the last episode was they wake up in a cryo tank, and it was all just a programmed like a sleep simulation that malfunctioned.
Oh,
It was
Disappointing.
I was so mad.
Oh, that's a table
Too,
flip
honestly.
moment.
Because there were
Exactly,
so many
that's why-
interesting clues that they just disregarded.
Yep.
Yeah, don't do
Anyway.
that to us.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. At least not over the long term. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Well, with that, let's jump into some of these other questions.
Forgot we have a test now at the end of every session.
Right.
It's not exactly a test.
I know, I'm just kidding.
You're not graded on it.
Do you guys have a moment that stands out the most? Is there a particularly...
Ollie banging on her shield.
That is a good one.
Sometimes it's like that. Yeah, that's like honestly, it's because if she hadn't done it, my plan was pretty much to do something very similar, except I would have just gone to the mess hall and grabbed like a pot or something.
Mm-hmm.
For me, honestly, it was the moment Tali found the rock
Mm-hmm.
that was making the noises. Because I
Yeah.
personally went from these frickin' idiots, I'm going to beat the, just smack them for sitting in their tent fucking during all this, to like, oh shit.
Yeah, well, it's like that's
Like,
the thing.
this
It's
is
like,
way better plan than I thought.
Yeah, well, it's like the moment that she's like, it's like they're making noise. I'm like, sus.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I was like, please don't be in there. Please don't be in there when I go in there. And they weren't in there.
oh,
and I
it's
was
great
sad.
Yep.
that the worst suited
Yep.
person is going. But no, especially like when you bang
Yeah.
shield again and they didn't respond. It's like, okay, this is happening.
Yep.
No, but it's like Tully
Yeah.
banging on the shield was just a moment I found funny.
Mm-hmm.
We never found that guy that I sent to get you guys out of the tent. Well, I'm sure we found him eventually, but we didn't find
In
him
the mess
afterwards.
hall.
Right. He was
Yeah.
accounted for, back at the head count, but...
Well, that he literally never found the tent.
He just gave up. What a jerk.
Oh,
He had a 28% chance of success, which was not high enough.
Dang it.
what that roll was.
That was his likelihood for being somebody reliable enough to find to pay attention, remember, and find where you were. 28 was not high enough.
Nope.
Yeah.
I again liked Omen's more thorough investigation of the two.
Yeah, I liked
corpses.
that moment too.
Yeah.
Hoping he was going to do something in there. I'm glad he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just waiting for my opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The combination of both detect magic and identify can be really useful. And I am playing with ways, as I demonstrated today, where it doesn't just automatically give you information, because I feel like skilled wizards would be able to have the opportunity to, mask some of that stuff. But you had one really good roll and one not good enough roll, which really worked out.
I mean, my not good enough roll was when I smashed two heads.
Right. Yeah, that was great too.
It's like, I loved that.
Okay. Good idea, bad idea. What are you guys thinking? What's a good idea? What's a bad idea? If anything.
Like, as far as stuff we did that was a good idea versus a bad idea, or just about the game in general?
About the game in general. either or.
Guess it was a bad idea to send some rando off to find the rest of the group.
No. We
I
all
tried.
make mistakes.
I just want to leave it alone to, handle this situation.
Yeah, I was fine. It was fine. It was just a zombie that I had to face, so.
Yeah.
Honestly, the way that Jack left it last week, where it's like, are you going to get the others? I'm like, is this a big threat? And then it just turned out to be a zombie. It's like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, it was one of those, it's like, someone's screaming, I'm not going to run the other way to get everyone else. I'm going to try to stop what's going on.
Yeah, you didn't know if there was some ancient horror in there, or if it was just a standard zombie.
Or I didn't know if there was somebody who could be saved.
Mm-hmm.
Just a spider that scared someone.
I would have been so angry at that. Not, well, I mean, at Jack, yes, but also at that character would have been so angry.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I don't have anything immediately off the top of my that jumps to mind.
I know. It was a moment of starting to get frustrated before the break.
Mm-hmm.
The roll
But
call
then
was
things
really
started
good.
happening. Oh, thank you. But then things started happening after we got back from the break, and it's like, okay, this is fine.
Yeah. There's very few instances where I pre-plan, hey, if they do X, Y happens. I set up the stage, and I know where all the pieces are and where all the pieces are going, and it's up to you to interpose yourself between those two states, and find a way to affect things. So I don't plan my games backwards from your solution. I plan my games, from how things are happening, and it's up to you to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I'm not so much I'm not saying that was a bad idea so much as I think I was just having worry that we were just about to hit a dead end and
Right.
it was going to be like Lydia all over again.
Right.
And so I was getting worried that it was going to be like that, and so a little bit frustrated, or just heading towards frustration right then. But, like I said, then we came back and things started happening, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this feels like progress.
Yep. I hope it didn't feel like too shoehorned in of progress. I feel like you guys
not to
were,
me anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like you guys were on the right track enough that
Yeah. So
It all
felt
made
like,
sense.
hey, we're actually doing things.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I think I know the moment Taylor was talking about frustrated wise, but I personally didn't feel frustrated. It was more that I know we're this close,
Mhm.
and it's a small. I think the reason I wasn't feeling frustrated personally was just because I know this is a smaller. This wasn't a whole city. This is a camp.
Mhm.
We were going to find something. It was just we got to figure out what that one thing is.
Yeah,
And
well,
thankfully, it was the roll call. Really, kind of was yeah.
I
but it was
believe
like
myself for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's we're so close. There's just this. We just got to find one thing, and thankfully, the haystack is much smaller this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, again, I think I was just verging on it because I was running out of questions to ask in that moment.
Which is why I started I was out of questions, which is why I was like, all right, we gotta just do something. We gotta
Right.
take what we've got and start, like I said, controlling for variables.
Right.
We need to start making actions that start narrowing shit down, and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a good point for me to call for action explicitly.
Yeah. That was good.
Because I know we
just
got
sit there discussing things.
yeah we've been bogged down by talking in circles and arguing and whatnot.
discussing
And I was trying to do that. I was kind of trying to, but I guess I don't think I was doing a good job of being pushy, like
Yeah.
personally as Ander,
Right.
which because
Yeah.
I'm always worried about. I have a bad habit of hijacking shit, so
I don't think so.
yeah.
There's a lot of times where
Gets
we're
a
like,
lot
we're
going.
going to do this, unless somebody else has a better idea, or maybe we could do this, or
Stuck
we
in
should
that.
do the first, unless we. so,
I had a
We'll talk.
Yeah.
We will talk for
yeah.
deciding things if no one's like do things.
Yeah.
If no one tries. If no one pushes. And I think you picked a good moment to be like, we need action verbs. It's like, yes, we need to do things.
Yeah.
And so we picked a few things to do, and things started moving again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot I want to reveal, but I still can't. I still can't.
Which is the life of a DM.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Well, what is something you want to see more of from another player? Let's make you guys talk about each other now.
See, we're talking from Sevki. Because we know that she's got interesting stuff going on, but we just don't know any of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm curious.
I want to see Tali walk into more fornication.
No.
No, I was a little bummed when she didn't try to just open the thing. It was like, what? Where did impulsive Tali go?
Remember when we were back at the the Broken Beauty, whatever that one was, that temple? It's like she was completely.
Yeah,
it
impulsive
came to
Tali is
weirded
trumped
out.
by innocent Tali.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like, naked people and sex weeds around a little bit.
Oh.
I'm
Yeah,
glad
Tali's not about that life.
that Christian / Omen was able to do a bit more this episode. I felt like I was losing you there for a few episodes, Christian.
This, as is my nature, I have built a character with intent to round out the group, and have found myself in a situation where none of my utility can really be brought to the table.
A little bad.
Is that because Jack stole your spell book?
No, I made myself a frontline spell casting combatant who is combat focused,
Right.
not nearly so much, anything else focused.
And of course, now we're not seeing combat.
Yeah, I don't have investigation as one of my skills. I don't have perception as one of my skills. I'm not a people person.
Well, hopefully we'll find some stuff in this deep dark hole for you to beat the ever living shit out of.
I will say I have very much enjoyed the small story arc, personal story arc that is Omen's relationship with Maxim. I love how that started, and I love how that's grown to this point. I think it's fantastic.
And I will say, I do like that Omen, the directness of Omen, I think is a nice foil, actually, to our not wanting to broach subjects to people, because, there's something to be said for that.
I think a lot of that comes from a little bit is my other characters have been a little bit the past couple of characters I've played have been a little bit underhanded and a little bit more secretive, so I'm attempting to go back to my Penelope Shantira roots, where I'm an open book.
And actually,
at least the upfront about what I'm feeling and doing kind of character.
I'm surprised your barbarian isn't included in that. That's who Omen reminds me of.
The barbarian or
You know,
or the
You Lizard Man.
Oh, Yarrow.
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 Hmm.
Thank you.
yeah.
Y'all know I'm shit with names.
I know, but it's like we weren't sure if you were talking Gorok
like
or
Yarrow.
Yarrow.
Fine.
Yeah,
Sorry.
although
The
technically
one we
Gork
specifically
wasn't a
knew was.
barbarian. Yeah.
But the
Well-
way Omen, like, because Yarrow seemed like a very, like, you get to know him, and he's a really good guy. Can be a little hard to understand at times. But I feel like Omen has a similar, like, he seems like a good guy. Little rough exterior.
Hmm.
You know. But I very much like Yarrow, and I feel like I very much like Omen.
Yeah, Yarrow was one of those, because of the way things were going, kind of characters, is why I built him.
Mhm.
I knew that I wanted to bring Linnea back, so that was more me building an NPC for Jack than it was for me playing a character.
I think it was a good
And I
kind
mean-
of palate cleanser intermission style character for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully, yeah. I mean, I realized that was definitely not. It was clear that wasn't like a fully, probably to your normal level of fleshed out, but or maybe it was. I don't know.
I think you overestimate the level to which I flesh my characters out.
That's probably true. I should
It
assume.
took me how long to finally write Linnea's backstory? And yes, it was a ridiculously long backstory. But yeah, I didn't have Linnea fleshed out for a couple of months. Just given my track record with characters, not just in this campaign, in every campaign I play in, given my track record, I've learned that it's best to
Do it on the fly.
if you're gonna make a backstory, it should be like a couple of sentences. Because odds are, even those sentences are never gonna come to light.
Yeah. I think you had a
Fair.
great backstory with Chantira, who lasted all of an episode and a half.
I hate
man, I'm
that
like, that
one.
had so much potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
I like
she
him
definitely
better.
seemed like
I
a cool
thought she was-
character that just got
She could have been really
screwed.
Yeah.
She went out. At least she went out big, though.
Kinda.
Did she?
She went out trying to save people.
She went out fighting.
yeah.
I thought she. I mean,
It was a heroic death that only 3 people remember.
yeah. Well, I assume Anders' death will be in like a shallow ditch somewhere. So
Obsidian dagger in the back.
something like that. I don't imagine it's going to be pretty.
Run through on Adderhast blade.
Not remind me of that.
Right. No, but to bring it back around, yes, I do fully intend on giving Omen the chance to shine in his particular skill set.
Like Omen.
So, actually, one thing I
Akila
do.
doesn't- I was gonna say, Akila just doesn't necessarily feel like she can trust him with secrets.
There's going to be some combat. Eventually. Eventually, probably, there is going to be some combat. Okay, well,
You're saying something, Steven?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say the one thing I kind of want to see, 'cause especially, and we did kind of see it a little bit today, but especially now that Akila has to kind of watch her powers some, and can't rely so much on the name of Blood Hunter. Like kind of the take, like, because I mean, really, you are probably the most likely to be the take charge party leader between background, skill set. Like, I think Ander has the face for dealing with outside group. But I think Akila, kind of in a way, is like the in-party sort of force. And
Yeah, well,
also,
it's-
like, the hunter, like, the... just kind of the hunter sort of aspect. Since I don't know, it's hard to describe, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's
not
been
doing-
some moments when she's sort of taken charge, but not a lot. But I mean, so honestly, it's not necessarily that different to how I was playing her at the very beginning. Because remember, it was a while before anyone saw her transform.
Yeah.
Like, so it was even longer before she really started even trying to use that she was a blood hunter to get things done. At least socially.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like, so it's not, like I said, the thing that only made it irritating, and I've gotten over it for the most part at this point, was the fact that it's like, now it is explicit that's like, no, don't do this. It's like, oh. It's one of those, it's like, it wouldn't have mattered if I'd been told not to, if I hadn't been told not to, but because I've been told not to, it's like, no, I want to. Because that's just the kind of person I am.
I can be like that too.
Yeah, so I think most people can be a bit contrarian at times.
Any other questions, Jack?
I think that's where I was going to wrap it up. Unless you guys have anything more to bring up.
Yeah.
So it's like Andrew and Akil are working well together. Apparently the tension's mostly gone.
Andrew didn't have any tension. Andrew said his piece a little while back, so.
Well, not that part.
I mean, that was as far as he was concerned. The biggest thing was the turn me in or don't thing, which we already had that, and especially now that like, okay, cool. Apparently, certain people are fine with this, so.
Yeah, which again was just sort of.
Like I said, I understood why Aquila was upset with Ander in a sense, and at least the situation as a whole. But yeah, and Anders' beef got squashed a little while ago, so if Aquila's willing to move on, then yeah, there's no reason they can't work well together.
They're on a job.
And I would say, in theory, Aquila and Ander would make a great team.
Good.
I mean, because you have, well, just the imposing Aquila-ness.
Thank you.
And also a knowledge of things that we typically have to go after. And Ander has the people skills, in theory, to... Also, I do love the idea of the Warlock and the Blood Hunter being just impeccable team. I mean,
like,
there's a beauty to that that's just...
It's like the two of them clearly could make a great team.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to nurture that. I want to see more of that. I would really like to see more of the Tempest twins teaming up to do stuff, and to get Omen more integrated with the group, which I think is slowly happening.
And I was going to say at the same time, for pretty much the same reasons, I kind of want to see Ander and Omen team ups because I think that is a wonderful juxtaposition of. I mean, because admittedly, Ander is very much not a direct person a lot of times. Tries to talk around situations. So there's that juxtaposition, and then just magic for fighting and magic for staying the fuck back and not fighting.
Don't stay the fuck back.
Yeah, but I don't really use it offensively. I use defensive magic mainly if I get into combat, and it just happens to be effective. But they're not.
I know that's not why you took the armor. But that's just sort of the way it works out.
Yeah, but it's mainly like, okay, I'm going to use this defensive spell to get in the way of something, and it essentially just beats itself apart on the wall. Which is, honestly, I love playing things like that, the immovable object. But yeah, so I like the juxtaposition of weird characters, so...
All right. Well, I feel like I had something else, but I've lost it, so that's probably a good indication that it's time to call this.
Down, Jack.
Yeah, I'm ready for some food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with my door being closed, with all the machines on, with my nice bright light up over here, it's 80 degrees in my room, and it's
So that's
winter.
my mom's nice
Oh,
bright
man.
light.
Yeah, so I think that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, good. Arlene's back.
Just in time to wrap
Sorry,
up.
I had to,
No worries.
yeah, Miles on antibiotics. I have to give it to him every day at 8. So, yeah.
Yeah, just closing thoughts, if anything, because I think we're gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah, I enjoyed the session. It did start a little slow, but it was really exciting. Like towards the end, it was getting more and more exciting, and I had a good time.
All right, sounds good. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up here. I think it was a great episode. Sounds like everybody really got into it, really had some fun, and we have the ball rolling in a steady speed, in a determined trajectory for next episode. As long as it doesn't hit something and bounce off, but we'll see. So join us next week for the next episode of the People's Ascension, and again for the after show for that episode. I think it's going to be particularly exciting. One of these days we'll get to a battle map, maybe.
Yeah.
And one of these days
We had
something
a
will
battle
happen
map
that I'm very
before.
concerned about.
We've basically had battle maps in
Yeah,
the
I know. I'm talking about the
volcano
one I've
thing.
had planned for the last 4 episodes.
Oh, that one.
Anyway, yeah, no, that's where we're gonna wrap things up. So thanks for hanging out with us a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed all of our tinfoil hat polishing and our commentary. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. Stay tuned for more codex entries and more things like this. Tell your friends about us. Get more people in on the community so we can create more content. With that,
I'd love to create more content.
yeah, me too. I would, really get into doing this on a more daily, professional basis.
Fun.
So anyway, if you wanna see that, help make that happen. Anyway, we're gonna go because we're all hungry and tired and hot. So,
Yeah.
thanks for hanging out.
Not the last one
with
for me,
us.
but
Yeah,
I'm
thanks
actually
for...
cold. That's why I'm wearing a onesie. But whatever. Doesn't matter.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.